Hi.
We're going to start the meeting. Recording is started. So, because Councilor Conniff was so very generous of her time, we have a lot of minutes to approve. Omar, these first 5 minutes, I'll make a motion to approve. You simply abstain because they're when Councilor Lynch was in. I'm going to make a motion to approve May 21st, May 27th, June 10th, June 24th, and September 9th.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to approve 5 sets of minutes. Any further discussion? Councilor Conniff?
Aye.
Councilor Gomez?
Abstain.
Councilor Rist says aye. I'll make a motion to approve the November 11th minutes.
Second. Oh, we'll give that one to Omar.
Well, you're typing the minutes. Any further discussion? If not, Councilor Gomez?
Aye.
Councilor Conniff?
Aye.
And Councilor Rist says aye. Public speak. The mayor is not going to join us tonight for obvious reasons. I see one person here, Trina. If you want to speak to any issue on our agenda, now's the time. Otherwise, you're welcome to watch.
I was just observing, and I was going to listen about the increase in salary for the mayor.
Okay.
And should I give my input now?
Yes.
Okay. I am definitely not a numbers person. I'm a humanities person, and if the Gazette's information is correct on this issue, I'm looking at these numbers and they don't look just exactly right to me. If the mayor gets an increase to $90,000 and we have a population of 16,000 people, and Northampton's mayor makes $92,500 and they have a population of 28,700, it looks like there is almost approaching double the population of Easthampton, but that mayor makes only $2,500, would make $2,500 more than our mayor. So that was what struck me in the article, that the proportions don't seem right. So that's why I came to the meeting, and that's my input.
Thank you, Tina.
Has anybody else brought this issue up?
We had a long discussion at the last council meeting, and the next council meeting, which is December 2nd, you're welcome to come in and make the same point if you wish. You're welcome to watch for the rest of the day. I'm going to stop your video though, okay? You'll be able to see and listen.
So I'm probably going to leave. You're going to have another discussion on this on December 2nd.
Right. We are discussing it tonight, but on December 2nd, we're going to continue the full public hearing.
Oh, okay. So am I leaving now? Is that what you're saying?
You can stay and watch. I'm just turning off your video.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for hearing me.
So I do want to take up the councilors. The mayor's salary. I have my, can you see this screen?
Yes.
This was my proposal based on what Peg and JP came up with. For me, I like it. It's funny because in August, I asked the city attorney if we could do this, and he was positive about it. And I just got today a confirmation from him that he still agrees with the interpretation. We can phase in a salary increase as long as the first one is January 2nd, 2022. And the rest would happen over the next 4 years, with the 90,000 being fully complete for the last year of the next mayor's term, the 2025. I like this because in phasing it over 4 years, a future council could possibly make a smaller, say, salary adjustment and do a COLA-like thing over 4 years if they chose to. I still feel the 90,000 is appropriate. Whether other mayors make what they make this is Easthampton, and I believe it will be important to have a competitive salary. A lot of the big managers in town, I did a little research, they make 150, 200,000, and they're managing smaller businesses than a $50 million budget. So that I'm not going to state all those others. Anyway, that's my thoughts. And Councilor Coniff.
Yeah, so I like this. I like this a lot. I like it better than the one lump sum at the beginning of 2022. I think at the time, Councilor Riss, last week, you had mentioned that with all of the salary increases we were proposing and the fact that they would go into effect 50% in one year's budget and the other 50% in the next fiscal year, this will reduce that, which I consider already a low number of $9,000 to, like, I don't know, what are we talking, 5, 6, something like that for each fiscal year. That feels completely manageable to me. One of the things that I think we talked about last week when we talk about other mayors is that other mayors have larger staff and administrative staff that they can rely on. So you would have to almost factor that salary into the running of the mayoral office. And we don't have that luxury here. We have a mayor and one assistant. And I think, you know, we talked last week around how it's a 24-hour-a-day job. And with all of the things going on in Easthampton right now, whoever is mayor in January of 2022 will have a lot on their plate to keep this ball moving. And you know, likely we will be working on coming out of an economic downturn. So we're going to have somebody who really understands that. And they're going to need to have some sort of a resume, if you will. And I think this will attract them.
To your point about it being less in the first 2 years, I also made this top heavy in year 2024 and 2025, where it's 3,000 increases in these 2 years and only 2,000 the first 2 years, thinking along the lines of the budget recovering a little bit.
Yeah.
If we have to do it, we could have done 4 equal steps, but I thought it might be better to do that like that.
And I think,
go ahead, Peg.
I was just going to wrap up and say, I think it's also important to remember, and again, Dan, I think you said all the wise words last week, Dan, that while this will be put, you know, if approved, goes into the budget, there is no guarantee that a mayor will take this salary. That we have had mayors in the past when we've given them pay increases that they have taken some of it, but not all of it, because they understand the budget and where the budget is going. And my lights keep going out. So, you know, I think those are all things we need to consider, that it's not going to take place until the 2022 term. And, you know, how that gets used is entirely up to the mayor.
The 4-year term does skew everything.
Yeah.
I think if it was a 2-year term, I wouldn't have asked for this bigger raise myself.
Yeah, I agree.
Omar.
Thank you, Mr. Sherman. I mean, this is much better than bringing 75 to 90,000 for the next term. That's for sure. I mean, I know trying to compare the mayor to business owners or business managers and that kind of stuff. I'm sorry, but I couldn't buy it. That argument, because again, I think the mayor's position is a political position. The people know what they're going to get when they apply. So, but definitely, and I say at the last meeting, I 100% agree that 75 is not the number for being the mayor of Easthampton. I will be okay with these numbers, to be honest with you. I think it's much better. I just have a question. Do you know, or anyone know if what the city offered to the mayor besides the salary? So,
Excuse me?
Do we know what the city offered to the mayor besides the salary?
Like perks?
Yeah, like
They only get
health
retirement
insurance.
and health care. I think that's it. Am I correct on that, Jen? Retirement and healthcare? They don't get a car. I don't think they get a car or anything.
Yes, you're correct.
Okay.
The other thing I remembered, I was asked numbers of times to be mayor, and I said no, thank God. And one of the things that struck me was that I wouldn't be able to do the nice moonlighting that I do all the time because I love to design theatrical lighting and set. My main job didn't afford that to me, and I forgot to mention this. Our mayors appropriately cannot work moonlighting jobs. They can't work any other job. They have to do this job full time, and it's a great point in the charter. So that's just something to think about. Supplementing their salaries isn't allowed. So that's just something I thought of. Anyway, if we're all okay with this, does Jen or Val, do you guys want to say anything to this? I know you probably don't, but just thought I'd ask you.
No, I think it's good. I think it's a good move.
It's a little better, Jen, budget-wise. It spreads it out over. And I'm really happy that the city attorney found it appropriate because this really does set up the next council. Let's say they wanted to do a $4,000 increase only. They could do $1,000 a year and make it like a COLA. So anyway, I'll take a motion to approve this amended phased-in salary.
So move.
Second?
We have a motion on the floor. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Councillor Coniff.
Aye.
Councillor Gomez.
Aye.
Councillor Riss says aye. I will send this out as approved 3-0 to the city clerk. Okay, now we have, I'm going to share the screen with the new stuff. We have Jeff Bagg here, and we have, oh, I have to apologize. I can't see this. All right, wait a minute. I'm just going to bring up the account balances. We have the first thing is a 375,000. Is it 375? What is it?
374.
374. And I wanted to bring up the fact that this is required, and here's the park grant language in the law that Jeff gave me, MGL Chapter 44, Section 7. Just the highlighted section here is why we're required to fully advance the amount of the grant. This assures that the DCS, that the municipality has budgeted for 100% of the total project cost, and assures the municipality that the project need not be completed if the proposal does not receive grant assistance. I guess they want to make sure we do the work, Jeff, before they give us the money, and it is a total reimbursement, correct? This grant, we do the work, they give us the money once it's done.
Right, for the 300, yep, for the 374,000, that's the amount that we will work, we'll spend and then seek the reimbursement through DCS.
So Val, my question is, this is coming out of capital stabilization. When we get the grant, we can't just put it back in. It becomes free cash, right? And then they have to do it next year? Or are we allowed to put it right back in?
No, we can vote, put it back in capital stabilization.
Immediately?
Yeah.
In the same fiscal year?
Yeah, because it's not going in general fund. Free cash is from general fund. We're putting it within the grant to sit. And then once we get the reimbursement from the state, we can vote to transfer it back to capital stabilization.
Okay, great. That's good news. Does anybody have any questions about this? This is simply the fact that we have to put the total grant money aside. Peg or Omar, do you have any questions?
No, I'm okay with it.
Okay, then I'll take a motion to approve the appropriation.
So move.
Second?
We have a motion to approve the $374,000 appropriation from capital stabilization to the Mount Tom Trailhead Park. Any further discussion? Councilor Coniff?
Aye.
Councilor Gomez?
Aye.
And I say aye. So the next two are the important items. I want to show you, Jamie gave us this. This is our current budget. As you can see right here, the 176 and the 985 are already deducted. This 1,104,471, that's the balance after we approve these. So I want you to see the cost, how the CPA budget is affected. This is coming out of open space and undesignated. The 9850, I'll let you kind of go over this. We have to do a historic survey on the park in order to make sure there's not I can always say this wrong, Native American or other artifacts that we have to protect. Jeff, can you go over that for the counselors?
Sure. It's an item that we, for a couple of reasons, we initiated this process now. And generally speaking, any funds that we're expending before we have the contract with the state are not reimbursable. So the request was for CPA to fund this kind of separate from these grants. I had to initiate this archaeological survey it was probably about 2 months ago. I initiated it in order to kind of have our fingers crossed that we were going to get the grant, but to be as prepared as possible. So by initiating this, the consultant that we're going to work with, I actually emailed with them today, expects to be able to get out to the site in the next 2 weeks. And they explore the location, they explore the earth where the parking area will be, and where the trail will go, and where the gathering area will be built. Basically anywhere where there's excavation, they have to do this archaeological survey to determine whether there's any artifacts in that area. And the reason why it's so important is we really needed to make sure that we understood if there are or are not any artifacts in these areas, because immediately upon executing the contract with the state for the park grant, we're going to go into the final design. So we wouldn't be able to do final design if we didn't have this archaeological survey completed. And my biggest fear was if we didn't get it done, if we don't get it done before, and there's still a small chance, but if we don't get it done before winter, then the final design will get delayed all the way until spring, because we can't have the final design until we know if there's any artifacts found or any need to reroute any trail or do anything like that. So this is really just trying to fund this part of the due diligence upfront and early on. So that's it's a separate request.
Do councilors have any questions about the historic survey? It's good that it's being done. I assume it's because there might have been Native American settling there in the past. Is that what they're concerned about?
Yeah, Mass Historic has a series of inventoried properties in the area, and it's within proximity to other inventoried areas that they flagged it this summer when we applied for the park grant. And it's a historic area. So down by Manhan River, there would have been potential early settlements. And then, as you go up through the Erie House and up this vicinity, there could be remnants of important, areas, settlements, or artifacts. So this is all just part of trying to figure that out.
And fortunately, we got the grant, so
yeah,
we'll be able to do that. Before we take a motion on that, I'm just going to move to the big item, the 176, and I can show you the budget that, and I have the entire thing here if you need me to go to any page. But this is the total budget for the Trailhead Park. You can see the grant proposal was 374, 176 from CPA. And these are all the items. I think the councilors have seen this, but I want you to all be aware. By the way, the CPA approved all of these unanimously. It's compacted crushed stone on the trails, which would be good for wheelchair access. That's what's great about this park. Totally accessible. So wheelchair bound citizens can get up on and have great views. There's a picnic area at the top of the thing, correct? That's what this is for.
Yep.
So the total becomes this. There's a 15% contingency. So can I ask a question? I forgot to ask this the last time, I think. Let's say you only spend 450, which means there's a lot of contingency money left over. Does that go to the CPA or to the state? Who gets the leftover money? I'm just curious. Do you know, Jeff?
I guess I could answer it two ways. One is which it's probably unlikely that it will end up. Well, we won't know. I guess the proper way for me to answer that is we won't know until we go out to bid.
Yeah.
Right. So and then there's the design part, which is there's a line item for design. Right now we have the conceptual drawings. We had public meetings that, there's a vision for the property. And then over the winter, the consultant needs to bring those to construction level drawings, and then we need to send them out to bid. And so that's our target for getting this out to bid in May or June. And I think that, Dan, I think that's when we would know, whether we're likely to be in that contingency or not, when the proposals come back and how the numbers look for a contractor to come out and build all these things. So I think,
my question was really related to the fact that we have a lot of projects at the CPA that have balances that we do get returns from.
Yeah.
It's not, I know that you probably need all the money, but I was just curious about grant rules, whether the grant splits if there's leftover in the budget, they must get some of the money back, I imagine. But Jamie has her hands up. Maybe she has an answer.
Yeah, I was just going to say that because it's a reimbursable grant, we'll only get reimbursed for the money that's actually spent.
Oh, that's true. Oh, yeah.
So at the end of the project will be 68% reimbursement, 32% of whatever is remaining would go back to the CPA, 68% of remaining would.
Because it's reimbursement, they're just going to reimburse what you spent.
Right.
I see Val's hand up, and I think I also saw Peg's hand up. Val.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the line items for the CPA portion will be set up in the CPA, and they'll be spent out of the CPA, and whatever is left remaining in CPA, you can close.
Right, okay.
It's not any part of the grant. It's separate.
Good. Peg, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I was just confused about these numbers relative to the ask, but I think I've gotten it all figured out based on, that's what I needed. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
The total budget is 550, and that's where they come up with these. Anybody else? Omar, do you have any questions? I see Thomas here as well. No, Omar?
Just listening in.
Okay. All right. Then if there's no more questions, I'll take a motion to approve first the $9,850 for the historic survey.
So moved.
Second.
A motion to approve the supplemental appropriation from the CPA for $9,850 to do historic survey of the Mount Tom Trailhead Park site. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Councilor Coniff?
Aye.
Councilor Gomez?
Aye.
And I say aye. I'll take a motion for the design construction drawing figure there, $176,000.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion for $176,000, also from the CPA for design construction of Mount Tom Trailhead Park. Any further discussion? Councilor Coniff?
Aye.
Councilor Gomez?
Aye.
And Councilor Riss says aye. Okay. I see Councilor Peak and Councilor Krasinski is here. I guess I'll just tell them what we approved.
Mm-hmm.
Councilors?
Yep.
Yes.
Councilors Peak and Councilors, we started the meeting with this discussion, JP is still connecting, and we approved it 3-0. You see this, JP? We already voted on this, but I wanted to share it with you. It kind of mimics what you provided us. Approved by the city attorney. Are you hearing me, JP?
I hear you. I hear you, yes.
Okay. So this has already been approved by the Finance Committee, and 3-0. It really does spread out the phases in the increases. Thank you for bringing it back to our attention, because as I said, the city attorney, I was thinking of trying this way back in August, and I asked him for a opinion, and he said it was fine, basically. And then I asked him again recently if he still held to that, and he does. So he feels this is effective. And as we mentioned at the time, this sets up the next council to be able to do, say, a small increase, maybe $1,000 a year over 4 years to mimic a COLA. But I think it's a great idea. Thank you for bringing it up again.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
I think it effectively spreads the budget out. It's less of a budget hit, but it puts us in line where I feel it might be attractive to some really skilled person to run for mayor. Tom, do you have any questions on this? This is what we've ended up with.
No, I think that's just about what I would have suggested. You know, I like the idea of just the gradual raises. I see what you did, sort of rounding to the nearest 1,000.
Yeah, we didn't want to do decimal points.
Yeah, but I think that this is pretty sensible, and
it gives only 1 year, the last year of the term, at 90,000. Also, I did smaller increases the first 2 years, less budget impact, and hopefully the budget's recovered by the time we get to 24 and 25, because those are $3,000 increases at that time. All right, so we already approved this. I have nothing else on the agenda. We meet next. I ask all you counselors to come 121A discussion, and Jen and Val, I absolutely need you for that. We're talking about the tax situation for the Ferry Street project, and it's the only thing that's going to be on the agenda next Monday, and how it affects us. And I got to find out what we're supposed to do beyond just approve the financial arrangements, because I thought we had to approve what the planning board recommends. But Jeff, have you? Well, it's not on the, well, it's on the agenda, but I didn't want to discuss it tonight. But anyway, I might be in touch with you as to what we're supposed to do as a council. I mean, I think it's a great idea. I just want to make sure we do it right. You know what I mean?
I'm happy to try to help figure that out with you.
Well, just let me ask you, the planning board won't have a recommendation by next Monday, will they?
No. No, the planning board had a meeting last week. It was favorable. They're going to meet again on December 1st or December 2nd with a draft report. My goal was to get the planning board report back before the next December 15th city council meeting, December 16th.
Well, we could set a finance meeting before that if we're required to approve the planning board's recommendation. I think we are.
I believe that it's the full city council that would receive the planning board report and would receive a report from the finance subcommittee, and both of those reports go to the full city council.
Okay, so we're just doing the finance part and the planning part. All right.
Correct.
So that would probably get us to the December 16th, which we scheduled. We should be able to do it then.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions from councilors? Next week we're going to do this.
Dan, are we meeting at 5 o'clock next week?
I asked Mr. Michon and his attorney, and they said they were fine with that.
Okay.
Jen, Val, 5 o'clock next week. Okay. All right. Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn. Councilor Coniff?
Aye.
Councilor Gomez?
Aye.
And I say yes. All right. Have a good evening, everybody.
Bye, guys.
And we don't have any meetings for a week. I'm just shocked.
Enjoy. Happy
Bye-bye.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
You too. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Same to you.